meters. Whole weight is over 200 tons.
简单给大家说一下哈。
It is a giant thing.
核反应堆比
So
一个
what is its
烧水
function?
的炉子的话，那么这个呢就
If
相
we
当于
compare
是
the nuclear reactor to a boiling pot, then it is the inner part of the pot. The nuclear reaction will happen inside, and the nuclear power will be generated. Someone compare this plant to the heart of the nuclear reaction. Then this room is the atrium of this heart. We arrived here at 8 a.m. In the past 8 hours, the most important thing is that this thing has been turned vertical, and it is hand. It means that the weight has been carried by the crane. There are many staff here. Let's talk with them to have some introduction. Now we have been allowed by the staff. We have gained the permit. Now we may shot the video by the side of this pressure vessel. Now we are at the very core area of the nuclear plant. The staff often call it as the core, the center of this nuclear plant. This giant thing is the thing that we will introduce you. It is the pressure vessel. The signal is not good. Now let's take a closer look at this pressure vessel. The signal is not good and the sound is not clear.
它这个信号卡了。
什么？
信号卡了。
那怎么办？等着吧。
等一会儿，嗯。
This is the live stream of CGTN on the installation of the core part of the nuclear power unit to use the Hualong One technology. It is the first such reactor to use Hualong One technology in the world, which is China's independent IPR technology. Right now we are standing at the installation site of this pressure vessel, which is the heart of the nuclear power station. We're still testing the facility. You can see the workers are busy doing their jobs, and we are going to give you more information later.
The signal is still not very well, so we are still testing the signal here. From the picture on the right, we can see that the crane is lifting the dome, and it is in the process of installation.
Earlier today, the containment dome has been successfully lifted and installed on the top part of the nuclear power unit.
It's mainly used to protect the nuclear reactor from the high temperature and bad weather and other bad conditions. Also, it prevents the nuclear radiation from the nuclear leak.
By using Hualong One technology, this power unit takes fully into consideration the previous Fukushima nuclear crisis to prevent future such risks.
Now we're still testing the signal, but look at the picture on the right. It is the site of this nuclear reactor, and the crane is still lifting the dome, and this happened several minutes ago.
So as you can see on the left side of this screen, a pressure vessel, the giant thing, is being installed in China's first nuclear reactor to use Hualong One technology. This vessel is a core part of a nuclear power unit, which weighs over 300 tons and must endure high levels of radiation and pressure and soaring temperatures over the next 60 years. It weighs over 300 tons. It will be lifted by the crane. Now the vessel will be moved ahead until it reaches the bottom of the nuclear power unit. So it will go 4 meters deep into the ground. So today it may take longer than we expected to finish the installation of the pressure vessel.
Greetings. My name is Xu Jing, the correspondent from CCTV. My colleagues is still live streaming on CCTV News. On this morning, the lifting and the installation of the pressure vessel are on its way. Now it's been in a gesture of it's been vertical now. Our terminals and our WeChat microblog are live streaming this. We can see the pressure vessel has changed a little. The workers are still working now. The bottom have been lifted off the shaft. There is a black part that is sticking out. We can see that this vessel has been lifted from the horizontal to vertical. In this process, the black supporting point should be lifted on the shaft. We may not see very clearly. There is a hook on the upper part, which is to provide a driving force to lift it up. Then the pressure vessel will be turned vertical. The turnover has been complete. This is the first stage. Then it will be lifted horizontally, because the pressure vessel position is on the ground. There is a pit on the ground, which is to contain the pressure vessel. After this, the vessel will be lifted backward. It will be lifted at the upper part of this pit. Then it will be changed. Later, the vessel will be left to drop. The whole process lasted from 8:30 till now. It's about 1 hour to 2 hours. The vessel is huge. Its diameter has exceeded 4 meters. The weight is over 300 tons. So for this vessel, the lifting is not easy. We should be very, very careful. The process should be slow. On this morning, I have interviewed the head of this nuclear plant. He introduced that this vessel is tailored for 3-generation nuclear technology. The technology for the vessel operated by the nuclear plant, the volume of this vessel is bigger. You can see this is a large tank. Compared with the second generation, first generation, third generation is safer. This is to ensure the effectiveness and safety when it is operating. So we have spent 1 year for research and development of this vessel, and the producers had held various tests. The pressure vessel is not only a can. It contains the nuclear material. In the later process, the nuclear material will be put into this vessel, and then it will be sealed at the bottom. Because there are nuclear materials, we should make sure that it is totally sealed and it is totally safe. Because if there are a crack, there's even a tiny crack, then it will be a hazard for the huge emergency later. Now the Wujie has the light streaming now, and he will have the comments for us.
Dear viewers, I'm with CGTN. Good morning. I know many of you have been following us this morning. Now we are standing at the food chain number 5 unit in the nuclear power unit. It is China's first such reactor to use the Hualong One technology, a China's self-developed technology on nuclear power. Now you can see the pressure vessel, the giant thing in front of you, is being installed. Many viewers questioned, what is the pressure vessel? What does it look like? So today, just to give you some brief knowledge from what I gained this in recent days. So it adopts a cod. It will generate high temperature and a high pressure. So such a big pressure vessel is like a container to contain the high pressure and temperature within itself. It will also prevent the radiation. It is the first radiation-proof screen. It's like a wall to shelter the radiation of nuclear power. Now, the workers are going to the next step for the installation. Before you see this, the pressure vessel is lying on its back, but now it's vertical. It's standing on the ground to prepare for the next step of installation. Then the workers will move this pressure vessel ahead within 10 meters to the very center of this factory. Then they will allow this pressure vessel to move down to the ground, about 4 meters deep into the ground. So we need to be very careful. And the installation work is going to be completed by 6 p.m. this afternoon. So let's take a closer look at the pressure vessel. Well, there are a lot of demands on the installation of a nuclear power unit. We need to wear these very safe shoes to be allowed into the installation site. The workers are busy doing their bits. Now you can see the pressure vessel has been detached from its holding parts, the supporting points. Now it's ready for the next step of installation. Well, at this site is being contained by 2 layers of safety steel, so it's quite safe here. I'm with CGTN. I'm doing a live stream. Can you tell us something about this pressure vessel? Well, the first step is to turn it from horizontal to vertical, that is to allow it to stand up. Then we move it horizontally to the expected position. So, what is the next step? So when we turn it vertical, we used many tools. As you can see, later we will have some more supporting points to hold the pressure vessel, to allow it to move deep into the ground. I know this is first in global reactor to use China's Hualong One technology, right? Yes. Such a way of moving it from a horizontal position to a vertical position is the first case in China. We also have such a reactor in Karachi of Pakistan. But this Fuji number 5 unit is different. We need to turn it to a vertical position. Well, such a decision is up to our leaders' considerations. So, in the first place, it lies on its back, and now we have turned it vertical to allow it to stand on its own. And you can see in the half sky there is a big crane, the yellow crane, which will lift the pressure vessel later. If everything goes well, maybe in the afternoon we will finish the installation. The turning up process takes a lot of time. Well, the latest news is that the installation is going to be finished by 3 p.m. today. It will be faster than we expected. Yes, once we get started, everything moves up very quickly. And the workers are cooperating with each other very well. Let's see if our viewers have any questions. One question is about which institution is responsible for the installation. Now we are standing at the Fuqing number 5 unit. Fuqing number 5 unit is located in Fujian province of China. Now we are trying to move to the core part of this unit. One question is about the application of the pressure vessel. Actually, pressure vessel is a very important facility of the nuclear reactor. It plays a very important role. It involves many technologies in the production of such a vessel. As you can see, there are 6 protruding parts or the connectors on the surface of the vessel. These are used for providing heating water. And these have been welded. So how thick is it? The thickest part is 22 centimeters. It has a design life of 60 years, so we expect it to endure any problems over the next 60 years.
We need to weld the steel plate. We are very carefully lifting this dome. You can see on the roof, the yellow part is the crane that we're using to lift the dome. things are complicated, so we need to contact with the director of this live streaming to see if the signal is good for it. Apart from our pressure vessel, there are white cans, more than one. Another one is here. There are 3 cans of such kind. It's called steamer. It is also one of the most important components in our nuclear plant. I can give you an example. In the past, there are steamer equipped in a train. And then the evaporator, then generate the steam to drive the train. The function of the nuclear reactor is alike. In the container, there are the nuclear material. The evaporator produces the steam. Someone asked whether it will explode. Is it possible for it to explode? First, the nuclear material used in the vessel is different from the nuclear bombs, and the concentration will be low, so the nuclear reaction will be slow and controllable. So we may use the steam to absorb, we can use water to absorb the heat. Then the heat may mainly be used for power generation. For the nuclear material in the nuclear bomb, the concentration will be very high and its reaction is not non-controllable. So it's the difference between the peaceful use of the nuclear power and the using it for weapons. And it is controllable. The pressure vessel is used for this purpose, for peaceful utilization of the nuclear power. Its function is to use the high temperature, utilize the high temperature and high pressure in it. It's like a pressure cooker. The function is to keep the pressure and heat inside. And the development of the nuclear plant has lasted for half a century. In general, the nuclear plant is effective, efficient, and cost-effective. And we have done much work to ensure its safety. Now I would like to introduce you my position.
行，刚才可能是因为我这个手机放得太低了，信号又出现了一些瓶颈啊。然后我们继续回到上面来看。现在这个工作相对比较静态啊，我们可以跟网友做一做互动吧，简单出几道题，让大家对我们的这个核产的这个再核电。
I'd like to ask you some question about this nuclear plant.
了解。
Ask you some question about the nuclear development in China.
想问问大家我们的网友们大家知道我们国家现在正在进行建造的第3代的核电站里面应用的这个3代核电技术，有哪几种？
Do you know among the nuclear plant which utilizes the third generation nuclear technology, and what kind of types are the nuclear technologies? One of them is Hualong One, third generation technology, and we are at Hualong One, the first launch of around the globe. What kind of other technologies have been utilized in China? I would like to invite you in our interaction.
是什么？哪位网友？后方导播告诉我们，居然有网友非常完整的全都答
Who
对。
asked the question? Wow, there are netizens who have the complete answer. Among the third generation nuclear technologies we are using, there are AP1000 from the United States. The AP1000 project in Sanmen in Zhejiang province. We had the live streaming at the AP1000. Now the project is being proceeding smoothly. The nuclear plant is in the process of construction. Also, there are EPR. We cooperate with France to introduce the nuclear technology. I would like to give you more details about these two technologies. Though they are above the level of second generation, and they have improved the safety of the nuclear station. Some also asked, what kind of position is the third generation, and what's the difference between the third generation and the second generation? And currently, most of the nuclear power technology are second generation technologies, and we mainly use the second generation technology to generate power in the nuclear power station. Just as I said, we use the nuclear material to generate the steam, and the steam will generate power. And based on the second generation technology, when we are developing the nuclear technology, we focus on safety and how to address the issue of safety. Various countries have different thoughts. Some netizens have answered that there are AP1000, which is developed by the United States. Its thinking pattern is to make the process simplified. They use the most simplified way to ensure its safety. It's non-kinetic passive safety. And when the power is cut off, the water pump cannot be used. Under this circumstance, we cannot inject the water into the reactor, and the heat will be generated massively, and then the heat will melt the container. The radiating materials will be released. Should such a situation happen, what about what AP1000 will do? They will use the natural law. For instance, the intercirculation of the water, and they will use such a kind of natural law to bring the heat away. I know that there is a kind of technology in AP1000. There is a big water tanker on the top. Should the power is cut off and the material is uncontrolled, the water will drop into the nuclear onto the nuclear reactor to make it cooler. So we need no rescue and emergency service to ensure that the container will be not melted by the massively generated heat. This is the most astonishing part when we had the interview at AP1000 in 82nd in France. This technology is to increase the equipment and the circuit lines of the water to separate the nuclear material from the container. It is also a very good thinking pattern. And for Hualong One in China, it's based on the experience of the previous nuclear stations. It has combined the advantages of the AP1000 and also they have increased the number of equipments to increase its safety. So Hualong One safety is ensured across the world, and it is unique and distinctive.
Some viewers asked how many, the percentage of the application of nuclear power plants. Actually, it shares quite a low percentage of nuclear usage, less than 10% according to previous statistics. For Western countries like France, France has 40% to 50% of nuclear power usage. For China, which has a big demand on electricity and power, if we overtake fossil fuel with the nuclear power, some, especially the coal, we may greatly reduce the emission of pollutants. into the air. So we're building the largest number of nuclear plants in the world. I mean, also both the number and the varieties of the nuclear plants under construction. And this is conducive to improving China's energy mix. Some viewers asked what do we do with the residues or the wastes of the nuclear materials. Although I'm not an expert, I'm trying to give you a professional answer. Also, many departments share the opinion that the nuclear waste has been a big problem for China, but it is not that a big threat. Sometimes we can bury the wastes deep into the ground or in the sea, far from the crowd. I visited China's nuclear material production base. We visited the production site, and I was shown a piece of the nuclear material. I asked the expert whether it is safe or radiative to hold such a piece. He said that the radiation is quite small given such a small piece. And if you put on your glove, you hold it, it's okay. It's not that harmful. It will be harmful if you touch the materials that have gone through the chemical reactions in the pressure vessel. But it's very tightly sealed with concrete, so it's quite safe. The pressure vessel is built with a very special material to protect us from the radiation. According to Hualong One technology, it has a design life of 60 years. So the peculiar material keeps it very safe over the 60 years. So during the production of such a vessel, we take into full consideration of whatever change that might happen to this vessel. We tried every possible means to keep any harmful things coming out of this vessel. On with CGTN. With its website, its Sina blog, and today's headline. Dear viewers, we're on a live stream of the third generation nuclear technology, the first reactor to use Hualong One technology. Today we are on the installation side of the pressure vessel of the reactor. It is a core part of the reactor. That is where the nuclear reaction takes place. The installation process has been going on for 3 hours. For the first 2.5 hours, we turned up the vessel from a horizontal position to a vertical position. Next step, we will move it a bit to allow it to fit into the expected position deep into the ground. Now, some holding supporting parts has been detached from the vessel. It weighs over 300 tons. It's very huge. So we are very cautious with the installation. We have many technical methods to find a good signal in this installation site. And we have made some video clips. I wonder whether the viewers can have such an opportunity to watch the video clips. And I look forward to exchange ideas with you on this. I'm Xu Jing with CGTN. Just now, my colleague mentioned that yesterday we had an interview into the interior part of the installation site because the site has a lot of requirements on the installation, so we are not allowed to move too further. And yesterday we were lucky to go into the interior part to see how the dome looks like. Now you can see there is a big hole in the installation site. That is the only entrance and exit. And the workers move in and out from this exit. Also, the same for the facilities. And after the installation, this hole will be closed. That is to say that we have completed all the construction of the installation of the pressure vessels of the power unit that uses Hualong One technology. By 2019, all the facilities will be installed, and another year will be needed to fix all the facilities and the test, and also for the testing. As you can see on this pressure vessel, there are 6 connectors to connect the water pipes to allow the steam to go out and allow the cool water to go into the vessel. In this way, there is both hot water and cold water going in and out. That is where the heat comes from. And when the cool water goes in, it will be heated and transported to other parts. The water is very hot. We also have other core parts to allow the water to cool down, which gives out steam, and it will be moved out when the temperature raises to a certain level. Now you can see the staff are fixing a something like a ladder, a supporting facility. They need to detach the connectors to allow the vessel to move horizontally to a preset position in order to fulfill to complete the installation by this afternoon. So the staff are making a scaffold. On the left of this screen, you can see 6 connectors on the upper part of the vessel. And on the right side, you can see the previous pictures of the installation of the containment dome. The food chain number 5 unit to use Hualong One technology is on process in Fujian. Now we are checking the nuclear island. Through this corridor, you can see we are standing at the nuclear island. This is the ground floor of a floor map of the reactor. This is where we are, and the core part. Now we are 1 floor upstairs. Although the reactor plant is not fully prepared, but you can check with this facility, which holds the nuclear fuels. The longest part is over 20 centimeters. It can shelter the radiation and the nuclear leak. As you can see, this wall is very thick. It has dual layers of steel as the bone of the wall. But for the previous power plants, it has only 1 layer of steel as the protection. So the 3rd generation technology is more advanced. And this wall is able to shelter the collision of big airplanes. Dear viewers, I'm with CGTN on its Sina blog, on its website.
Now you're watching the Unit 5. I'm live streaming on Hualong One, the first launch of the pressure vessel of Hualong One across the world. Many of you have asked questions, and about 110,000 viewers do not eat lunch. They are watching live streaming, and let's look at what they're saying. Many of them are experts. They said that why should we build more nuclear stations? Because our nuclear power is scarce. There are many technologies. For instance, our nuclear stations should be built alongside the coastal areas because there are so much seawater to cool the nuclear reactor. And these questions are in our consideration. And someone asked why we need water. First, we use the ordinary nuclear station to boil the water and use the water to generate the heat. And the new coal-fired power plant use the coal to boil the water and to generate heat. So water is very important part in power generation. In case of emergency in nuclear station, water can bring away the heat from the nuclear reaction. Even if we choose to build the nuclear station inland, we will build it alongside the rivers because the water is easily accessible. And some netizens have asked, when the plant is shut, will there be any other exits for emergency purposes? Currently, there is a huge hole. We can see on the ground there's a track built here. The diameter is about 6 to 7 meters. It's 2-story high. Through this hole, we can find many secrets. Through the hole, we can feel the thickness of this wall. It's very thick. And in this wall, we have used the dome. It's the steel dome. A third-generation nuclear technology is showcased in this area. They have used the 2-story steel dome. In this way, it is much larger than the second generation. Let's look at some new questions, whether there are new questions.
看到有网友提出来说，华龙一号三代核电机会是
Some netizens also raised the question, what kind of difference between the Hualong One and other third-generation nuclear technology?
大家好，我只是通过这个采访积累下的一些知识，给大家简单的这个科普一下。华龙一号呢，它作为三代核电机组呢，其实是在这个二代核电的基础之上。
Hualong One technology, as one of the nuclear station that utilizes the third-generation technology, has improved a lot. In terms of safety, it has many thoughts. Represented by AP1000, it advocate simplification. For instance, should a problem arise, if it is uncontrolled, then what is used to bring away the massively produced heat? In the plant, it will use a big water tank. To the flow of the water in the backup, the units will be cooled in case of a totally power shut off during 72 hours. It has one time for the rescue later. For instance, in APR, in France, it has increased equipment. They prepare 3 to 4 equipments to ensure, in the most extreme conditions, as Fukushima crisis caused by tsunami and earthquakes, and the power is shut off. And we can also solve the problem. For Hualong One, it has adopted the way of AP1000. It has used a huge water tank to separate them. And at the same time, at the bottom of the reactor room, there are water pumps in backup. They can pump the water into this nuclear station and drip the water on the top to cool down the reactor. In this way, this is a double insurance. Then the possibility of meltdown is very low. Someone also asked, the utilization of the third generation technology has achieved 70%, and it is beyond my expectation. How many nuclear stations have utilized the third generation technologies? In the United States, they have AP1000. In France, they have developed APR. In our country, Hualong One, we use different thoughts to solve the coolings. Also, in our country, we have CAP1400. It is based on AP1000. And we have adapted this technology and innovate the technology to make the power larger. And this is our independently developed third generation nuclear technology, and in Shandong, the nuclear station has been put into operation. So in the future, we will see another type of the third generation nuclear power technology. And someone also asked, when will the Hualong One generate power? We can see by 2020, it will put into the commercial use. Someone will also ask why we should spend so much time. Because the nuclear equipment installation is a long process. We can see, apart from the pressure vessel, we must also increase the equipment. The key installation will last until 1 year later, and we have multiple tests. And we will use the nuclear material to test it. And the nuclear heat will also be tested. We will see if the nuclear station can generate power and be transmitted to the power grid. After all the tests, only when we have all the tests can we ensure they can be utilized commercially, and can we transmit the power generated by the nuclear station to every household. It is 2018, and in 2020, we will see the power generated by the nuclear power station be utilized by the households across China. This is also one of our small goals. It is a very important, crucial step towards the household use of the nuclear power. Also, some viewers asked, is it dangerous for them to generate power? Especially when there are accidents, we are afraid and we are cautious about the nuclear stations, because in normal situations there are no emergencies. But if there are emergencies, it will have a huge impact on our environment. We now have the first generation, second generation, and third generation, and the fourth generation is also in the research and development. How to improve the safety of the units operating. And it is also a much concerned question. For instance, the Fukushima nuclear crisis is caused by the over-operating nuclear units. And they have no careful consideration as the third generation technology. They have not expected the multiple impacts caused by the tsunami and earthquake, so it is a very important lesson for us. And we have improved the safety requirements. Today, we also have much better technology to ensure the safety of the nuclear reactor. So it is a bright prospect.
One viewer said, the danger is relative thing, because by taking plane, it can be very dangerous. How about the advanced level of China's nuclear technology? Is that as good as China's high-speed rail train technology? As we know, the high-speed rail is the name card of China, and we are also building the nuclear technology into China's name card, especially through the Hualong One technology. We have another project in the Karachi city of Pakistan. We also have reactors in the UK and Argentina, especially in the UK. UK is an industrialized power, whose nuclear technology develops very advanced. And after 40 years of reform and opening up, and through China's efforts to develop its nuclear technology, we have introduced the foreign technologies, but we also absorbed and digested and adapted such technologies and making innovations of the nuclear power technologies. Let's check what the workers are up to now. Now the scaffold is almost ready. And it's also safe. They are going to move off some parts from the vessel. I once visited a very famous and large nuclear company, and they have a very big facility. And also I asked them some questions on the facility, whether there will be a welding line on the parts. Such parts were made of steel, so they're very tough. And that is really China's strength on manufacturing. And that really showcases China's ability on manufacturing such complex facilities. And some viewers said that we support that nuclear power stations to overtake the traditional coal-fired power plants, because this will help us tackle the smog issue in China. We learned in school that the coal is not sustainable, it's not regenerative. And now the fossil fuels are creating pollution problems for the human society. So if we can keep going on well with developing the nuclear power, which is clean and safe, it may be a very good solution to China's future energy issue. Dear viewers, this is the live stream of CGTN on its website, on its Sina blog, and its app. If you happen to watch this, we're broadcasting the installation of the number 5 unit, the pressure vessel of the unit uses Hualong One technology. This live stream has been more than 2 hours. This vessel weighs over 300 tons and is more than 4 meters in diameter. It has been moved from a horizontal position to stand up. I was told earlier that installation will goes on until 3 p.m. in this afternoon, and the installation will be complete by then. Earlier today, as on the right side of the screen, a containment dome has been installed on the upper part of the unit. Some viewers asked when will we wrap it up. The installation will finish officially by 3 p.m. and the vessel will be moved into its preset position 4 meters deep into the ground by 2 p.m. We must ensure it will be successful. And this is the world's first reactor to use Hualong One technology, China's self-developed technology on nuclear power. So today for the installation, in order to ensure its success, we are very cautious about it. Some viewers joke that we should go to lunch by now because it's lunchtime. But the staff are still working. So as a reporter, I also keep the same with the workers. On January the 17th, the pressure vessel was transported by sea to Fujian, this Fuqing city. We have a huge crane, China's self-developed crane, for lifting the pressure vessel. So from the production facility to the transportation facility, these are all China's self-developed technology and products. This showcases China's manufacturing ability. So this new generation of nuclear technology is a very strong example of China's manufacturing ability. Innovation development is a priority for China at the moment, and we are very honored to shoulder this responsibility. I guess it's lunchtime because it seems the signal is not very good. Now I'm moving outside the installation site. Sorry, the signal was not very good just now. Now I'm moving outside of this installation site. As you can see, this is the transportation track which takes the pressure vessel all the way into this installation site on January 17th. So this platform is 16 meters high. In terms of the factory and the plant, the Fuqing number 5 unit is almost accomplished. In addition to the main venue, there are some additional buildings. Number 6 unit is also an application of Hualong One technology, but its dome is not installed yet. You know, the vessel is like a container, so on top we still need a dome to seal it. The dome installation is going to be ready. I mean, for the number 6 unit. For the number 5 unit, it was accomplished in May last year. like building blocks. You know, the container, as mentioned, is made up of steel loops, one after another. So it weighs more than 100 to 200 tons. So we need a huge crane to compile all these loops until the container is ready. So we have a special term, the module or block manufacturing. And in this way, it is much more efficient of building all the facility. It takes more than 62 months to finish all the job. More than 5 years, I mean, from infrastructure to the business application. This building can resist 8 degrees of earthquake. The weather is not very good today. It rains, so it's not that visible. It also can resist the tsunami. Also the flood and sea tide. So this building is on a very high altitude. You can see the slogan that is to showcase China's national power. Another slogan is the Hualong One technology. I know the viewers have very good command of the nuclear knowledge. You know, there are many types of reactors, including the water pressurized reactor or the waste reactor or the heavy reactor. So anyone has the answer to these 3 types, what they are. Dear viewers, so much for today's live stream on the Hualong One technology. The pressure vessel installation on the number 5 unit in Fuqing. So thanks for watching. Please follow us later on our microblog, on our Twitter and Facebook accounts. Thank you for watching.